Welcome to FanDummies. I'm Greg.
And I'm Aaron.
And most of you know Infinity War landed on Disney Plus on June 26, 2020. I say 2020 because you could be listening or watching this from the future. Hello, future FanDummy. We made it through 2020. High five. Since Infinity War is a hot topic, we thought it would be fun to take a look at both the movie and the comics and just talk about the differences. For our patrons, we're going to talk about some of the characters that were only in the comics and what we hope we see from them in the MCU. It's going to be super fun. We're going to do some speculating. We're going to talk about some characters maybe you've never heard of if you haven't read the comics.
And the comics are really good. You should go read them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. But before that, we have to address the unicorn not in the room. Unfortunately, our tremendous trio is now a dynamic duo. Jessica has decided to move on to bigger and better things. Sad face. We will miss her, but we wish her the best of luck in her future endeavors. Jessica, aka Jessicorn, gone but not forgotten. We are officially calling this episode the first episode in season 2. Woo!
Woo! Confetti.
Yeah. We're in this thing 101 episodes.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few differences this season. First, we are moving to once a week. So from now on, episodes will come out every Monday morning. YouTube shortly thereafter, if you're watching us on YouTube. Probably not Mondays. Get a little extra time for some video editing.
What do you mean videos on YouTube?
Second, we have added video. Yay! Our YouTube videos will have a little extra video content in addition to the podcast. It should make it a lot of fun.
You mean like Greg rummaging through our comic book collection, trying to find the comic books?
Cue B-roll.
Or Greg sleeping on the couch after he falls asleep during the Infinity War movie?
Oh, come on. We both were sawing logs.
Long.
We had to rewatch it. Rewatch the end.
We start movies too late and then we get tired.
We're also planning on doing some live episodes, so stay tuned for more announcements around that. Should be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Talk to some of you fans live. Could say anything. I'm actually terrified now that I'm saying it.
Only nice things, please.
Please. If you're new to FanDummies, welcome. We talk about our favorite superhero, science fiction, and fantasy topics every Monday.
It seems weird just to say Monday.
I know. And then every whatever day on YouTube. We'll figure that out as we get deeper. Probably shortly thereafter. All right, let's get into the Infinity War. As we said earlier, the Avengers Infinity War is now on Disney Plus. It was released in the theaters in 2018 and celebrates 10 years of Marvel Cinematic Universe since Iron Man 2008. Do you remember when Iron Man came out?
Yes, a long time ago, it seems like.
So great.
Yeah. That is my favorite Iron Man movie for sure.
Yeah, it was a game changer.
Yeah. And, I mean, what else was out when Iron Man came out? I mean, there wasn't many Marvel movies at the time.
No. I mean, we had X-Men stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm. Spider-Man, of course. Wolverine.
Yeah. It is the third Avengers movie coming after the Avengers, 2012, and Avengers Age of Ultron, which came out in 2015. And if you've seen it in the theater, remember Endgame comes out after this one. So hopefully some point we'll get that on Disney Plus. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Super fun. Now, if you are at the comic book store and you are rummaging through the back issues and you see comic books titled The Infinity War, that's not this. It won't look familiar at all. The comics you're actually looking for are Thanos' Quest, which was written by Jim Starlin in 1990, and then The Infinity Gauntlet, which is released July through December 1991, which was also written by Jim Starlin.
Those are really good books.
Yeah, we've read them before. I actually own them, which you'll see hopefully in the B-roll if I can find them. And I think I have one of them signed.
It's the first Infinity Gauntlet comic we got signed by George Perez.
Yeah. That's a fun one. I've always loved that series.
Yeah.
And I think I might have 2 or 3 of those number ones. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
Like I got some to stick around. We'll see if I can find them.
Yeah, I remember when we looking through our comics to bring for George Perez to sign. Like I was like, oh, I'm all about his Wonder Woman comics, like his run of Wonder Woman. And you were like, oh, what can I bring? And then you found that one. And I just love his style of art.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's really fun. The sequel, which is Infinity War, was released June through November 1992, also written by Jim Starlin, but it doesn't have anything to do with this plot, Avengers Infinity War. Well, maybe we'll have to read that and talk about what it is.
It'd be a good follow-up episode.
Then we can clickbait people. We can say, Avengers Infinity War. Then they click on it, be like, the comic books.
Sounds kind of fun, though.
Yeah. So let's get into what the premise of Avengers Infinity War, the movie, is.
Thanos is the main villain, and he's gathering the 6 Infinity Stones to become the most powerful being, and he wants to kill half of the people in the universe.
I mean,
which is a lot.
Scary.
Yeah. He wants to destroy them because his homeworld was destroyed by overpopulation, and he feels he can prevent it on other worlds.
It seems like he thinks he's doing something good.
Yeah, he claims it to be a noble quest. So he's not just out, just to dominate and wipe out huge populations of, beings. He's actually on this noble quest. And when he finishes, he will retire with the gratitude of the universe.
Now, isn't that the creepiest criminal? Like, can you imagine a criminal that thinks they're going to do bad things, and then when they're done doing the bad things, people are going to look at them like, oh, well, thank goodness they did those bad things. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just psycho.
Yeah. Like, even in the movie, he doesn't, besides him having a lot of powers and stuff from acquiring these stones, he doesn't really seem like a really scary villain. Like super evil. Because of, what he believes and everything. He's definitely not like the Joker. Like you wouldn't want to come across him in a dark alley after the theater.
DC villains historically are pretty scary.
Is that why?
Yeah. Marvel villains, there are some scary ones, but not quite the same.
Yeah. In the movie, we get to see many Marvel heroes team up to stop Thanos, and they initially fail.
We're going to talk about that. We have an entire section at the end called The Snap. So we'll get into that.
Wait. Can you see it?
Yeah. Stop it. It could be doing something.
Wait, when you get the Pez out, that's...
He has Pez. Don't eat that.
Why not?
I have no idea how old that Pez is.
I just put it in.
Oh.
I don't keep my Pez dispensers loaded, Greg.
Oh,
That's not safe. Like, do you keep your guns loaded? It's not safe. That's how you defeat the universe.
The answer to your second question is I do. Don't break into our house.
Oh.
you'll get 2 surprises, Pez and other things.
You only find Pez and lots of collectibles. They're not toys, Greg.
You're not dissuading people. You're inviting it.
Oh. Not very worthless
junk.
Collectibles, because I like to buy the stuff at the store.
This story is very different in the comics. So different that it surprised me reading it maybe for the second or third time. I knew when I watched this movie that it was something I'd never seen before or read, right? It's not like an adaptation of the comic. It's a completely different story. I mean, it's only on the surface the same stuff. Like, there is an Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos is in it. The Avengers are in it. That's probably the only similarities. The Infinity Stones are in it.
Or soul gems.
Even that.
In the comics.
Something different. But in the comics, Thanos is in love with the Mistress Death. She actually brings him back to life, and he pledges himself to her. I really thought Thanos would want a partner with a little meat on their bones. So you think I'm skinny?
Greg watches too much TikTok.
For most of the comics, Death is just a skeleton with a cloak on. So by meat, I mean literal meat, not anything weird.
Well, she has a face.
At the end, near the end, there's a face. And I don't know if she gives that to herself or Thanos gives that to her. But for most of the comics, she's like Skeletor from He-Man. She's just bone. How the comics are broken up is essentially in Thanos' quest. It's all about Thanos collecting the gems and basically trying to become Death's equal or better. Infinity Gauntlet is when Thanos snaps his fingers and half of every living thing disappears, even animals. So pets, cows, cattle, chickens, bugs, everything, people, half of them in the universe disappear.
It's crazy. It reminds me of some of those movies or shows that we've watched, and all of a sudden the people just disappear.
What, like the 4400?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or there's a bunch of them we watched, like Glitch. Like there's a bunch of them. Can't remember. Some of them are just dead people coming back to life. Some of them are disappearing and then coming back. I love all those shows.
Yeah.
There's a mix of other comics in the movie as well. For example, in the movie, Thanos sends his elite fighters to collect a few of the stones. This group is called the Black Order. The Black Order didn't really appear in the Infinity comics until 2003, around Infinity number 5. But we see them in the movie a lot because they're to collect some of the stones, and actually they catch Doctor Strange, if you remember right. We'll put a link to the essential reading of the Black Order in the show notes. There's like 5 or 6 essential comics to learn about who the Black Order is, which is pretty cool. Ready to talk about the stones?
Yeah, the best part.
I know. The stones are so cool.
Especially the gold glove that he puts him in.
That's a gauntlet.
Oh.
Can't call a gauntlet a glove.
He's like Michael Jackson, just wearing the one glove. Sparkles too.
Yeah, it does sparkle. The Infinity Stones were originally called soul gems. In Thanos' quest, Thanos would correct people and say he calls them Infinity Gems. So he got it most of the way there. But the MCU actually coined the term Infinity Stones. There are a lot of differences in the comics versus the MCU with the Soul Stones, Infinity Gems, Infinity Stones. What do you want to call them from now on? Infinity Stones?
Infinity Stones.
Infinity Stones. Okay. We'll let the MCU correct the comics.
Well, the stones have the same powers in the comics and the movies, so that's not different.
Thank God.
So that makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
And in the movies, all the stones are different colors in the comics.
I didn't have the colors memorized, so this didn't really, I didn't even know it or understand it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they only changed it just to fit the aesthetic of the movies. I don't, like, why do they even change stuff like that? It's so weird to me.
Maybe it just, you know,
It fit.
Gets it from 99% cool to 100% cool.
Yeah.
A lot of times in the comics, Thanos would show the gems and they would all be the same color anyway.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, so I don't think color played as an important role in the comics as it did in the movies.
I guess that's true. The Power Stone in the movies is purple, so it would fit the Guardians of the Galaxy aesthetic. And in the comics, the Power Stone is red.
Why did I think, when I think of Guardians of the Galaxy, for some reason I think orange.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think purple.
You don't think purple like space, like a galaxy?
I mean, I guess I should. I do now, thanks. I mean, yeah.
I'm obsessed with galaxy, so that's why.
You can say duh on the podcast and it's fine.
I didn't say duh, but people in the comments can duh you.
Yeah, I deserve it probably.
When the movie starts, Thanos already has the Power Stone.
Yeah.
We hear Thor tell the Guardians that, you know, Thanos already obtained it from destroying Xander.
Yeah, we don't get to see that in the movie,
Mm-mm.
but
yeah,
they alluded to it.
And in the comics, Thanos gets this Power Stone by tricking Champion into destroying the planet that they're on and tricking him to think that the stone is worthless. And so once he destroys the planet, you know, he's stuck out on like the floating rocks. And so, you know, Thanos offers him a ride out of there for trading to him to trade the stone, and
he does it.
We'll just call it a ride.
Yeah. Champion can't fly.
Mm-mm.
So he legitimately could have lived forever in the rubble of that planet.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be immortal.
Yeah, or at least long lived. And Thanos said, "Hey, I'll give you a ride, but you got to give me that gem on your forehead." And Champion thought that, you know, that he was powerful, that the gem was just nothing.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Champion didn't seem the brightest.
Another crazy part about the comics is most of them, but a couple, they all have the stone, like they're wearing it in their forehead, kind of like Vision has it in the movie. Yeah. And that's a huge difference because like when Thanos is able to, you know, get the stones from him, it doesn't kill him like it does Vision.
No, he has to kill some of them in order to get it, but it doesn't take, but removing the stone doesn't kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The space stone is blue because it's in the Tesseract.
Wow.
And you remember that from...
It was in a lot of movies, right?
Yeah, it was in a lot of them. And that space stone is actually purple in the comics. So
Yep.
Totally different. In the comics, Thanos takes this one from Runner, and he's an elder, and he takes it from him by aging him with the time stone.
Yeah, that's pretty funny because these elders think that they're immortal. It turns out they just age really slowly.
Mm-hmm. And the Runner is a lot like the Flash.
Yeah.
It's Marvel's Flash. And we see Thanos get the space stone from Loki at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
And when I say get it from Loki at the beginning of the movie, he ends up killing Loki.
Yeah, he gets it by torturing Thor, and Loki gives it up, and then he still kills him. You remember the Tesseract?
Not cool.
No, yeah, not cool. You guys remember the Tesseract because we saw it in the Thor movies. It was in the box. We saw it in all sorts of movies because wasn't the Tesseract in Captain America too? Like,
yeah,
it's been around. The Tesseract has been on Earth and been around for a long time.
And I don't think they fully understood it either.
They had no idea it was the Space Stone.
Well, since we get to see the Reality Stone in Thor: The Dark World, it appears red in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, and it's actually yellow in the comics.
Yeah, see, the comics, the color is just so irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. Might as well just not even color them.
Mm-hmm.
In the comics, they never refer to the reality stone as the Aether like they do in the movies.
No, it's just called the reality gem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in the comics, Thanos gets this reality stone from the Collector by trading him a baby runner.
Yeah.
and wait, Greg. Let me finish my joke.
Okay.
He doesn't trade him a baby Yoda. He trades him a baby runner.
Yeah. It would have been a better deal for a baby Yoda, in all honesty, because the runner, as soon as he accepted the gift, Thanos aged him back to normal.
And in the movies, the Collector actually has the reality stone and Thanos comes and gets it from him.
Yeah, very similar, except instead of trading him a baby elder, he lays waste to that whole, what is it, like a floating skull or something that they live in, the Collector's at? Is
it Planet Nowhere?
Yeah, exactly.
They're nowhere.
They're nowhere.
The Soul Stone is orange, and it's green in the comics. And in the movie, Thanos sacrifices Gamora to acquire the stone.
Yeah, if you remember, Red Skull is kind of guarding the Soul Stone, and he asks Thanos to make a sacrifice
of somebody that he loves. Yeah. So this sacrifice was created for the movie, and in the comics, Gamora doesn't have that same role.
She doesn't really even have that big of a role, actually. She's barely in them.
Yeah. And in the comics, Thanos takes it from the In-Betweener after he helps him break out of prison. Like he's in this like floating orb.
Yeah.
The Time Stone is green, and we first saw that in the Doctor Strange movie. And in the comics, that stone is orange. And in the comics, Thanos takes it from the gardener using the power gem, which is really weird because the gardener is using the stone to make his plants like grow really like big and really, really fast. And he doesn't even understand like the full power of the Time Stone. Like he doesn't even know that he's, forwarding time.
Yeah, using it in that way. And that's a common theme throughout the whole comic book, is the elders who have them are so arrogant that they think the power is theirs. And really it's being augmented by whatever soul gem they have.
We saw that a lot in Champion because he didn't know that like his strength and his fighting abilities came from the stone.
Well, at least partly, yeah, or enhanced by the stone.
Yeah, he didn't know why he never lost.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the Infinity War movie, Doctor Strange protects the stone, and it's in his like little necklace that he wears so he can protect it.
Yeah, and if Thanos takes his necklace and says, "Oh, it's not here. Give me the real one," and he ends up giving it to him.
Yeah.
And Stark was like, "Why would you do that?" And, Doctor Strange, all-knowing, all-seeing Doctor Strange said, "This is the only way."
You sound just like Benjamin Cumberbuns.
I mean, the shoe fits. If the gauntlet fits.
And the last Infinity Stone we're going to talk about is the Mind Stone. And it's yellow in the movies, but in the comics, it's blue. And in the movies, this is the stone in Vision's head.
This was a rough one.
Yeah. And the huge difference in the comics is Vision's head jewel is not an Infinity Stone. It's a solar jewel.
Exactly.
Like not even the same.
Yeah, Vision had nothing to do with an Infinity Gem or a, Infinity Stone, whatever we're calling it now.
And he's not even in the comics, is he?
Yeah, he's there.
He's there?
Yeah, you just don't recognize him because he's all white. Yeah, but he plays a pretty big role in the comics. He just doesn't look the same as he does in the MCU. The MCU has got like a cool suit and like he looks awesome, played by tall Jude Law.
We're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. No comments needed.
And in the comics, Thanos takes it from the Grand Master. He's another elder.
Yeah. The Grand Master had just started to perceive the value of the stones. So he he contrived this game where Thanos would put up his stones and the Grand Master would put up his one stone, and the Grand Master was confident he was going to win. But he obviously didn't perceive the stones as well as he could have, because he would know that anybody with 5 Infinity Stones is going to be unbeatable. The next stone we're going to talk about is the Infinity Patreon. In our basic tier, you get extended ad-free episodes and early access. We have other tiers you can also join if you want to support the channel in a larger way. And you'll get access to our private Discord chat room, participate in live Q&As, polls, and Twitter shoutouts. Check out patreon.com/FanDummies or click the link in the notes below. There was a lot of people in both the Infinity War and in the Infinity Gauntlet comic books, but the heroes and villains that fight are so much different. I mean, they couldn't be any more different.
Mm-mm.
It even doesn't even take place in the same place, which we're going to talk about. The first, and I think the largest difference, is that in the comic books, Adam Warlock is the leader of the team that confronts Thanos. He's nowhere in this movie. He's hinted about a little bit.
Yeah, we get to see him teased at the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 movie. Do you remember that?
I do. And he was all gold.
I guess what we could see of him, because he was like in that little capsule.
True. Well, the people were gold. Mm-hmm. The people around him were all gold.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a big deal, because in the movies, in the Infinity War movie, he's not in it. And there really isn't a clear leader other than maybe Doctor Strange, maybe. It's really more cooperative,
mm-hmm.
and it happens on several fronts, like Spider-Man and Iron Man and Doctor Strange are together, and it happens on lots
small
of fronts.
Team ups.
Yeah, if anything, maybe Black Panther was in charge at the end for the biggest battle.
Yeah,
because it happened in Wakanda.
Yeah.
So maybe I would almost maybe call Black Panther the leader of that final battle.
Yeah, they all kind of stepped up when they were needed and led their little team.
In the comics, Thanos' right-hand man is Mephisto. And Mephisto, if you don't know who he is Marvel's version of the devil.
Like Lucifer?
Yeah, like Lucifer. And he ends up turning on Thanos at the end, well, because he's the devil. I mean...
But the devil never lied.
Well, maybe he didn't ask the right question.
He was tricking him.
Yeah, it's always the saying, is the devil you know is better than the devil you don't? Well, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, there was actually internet scuttlebutt from people thinking Loki would fill the role as Mephisto in the movie, but that didn't happen.
No, what they actually did was used Gamora and Nebula and the Black Order. That's who really surrounded Thanos throughout all of the movies. Now, of course, Gamora left, and Nebula was being tortured in this movie. But he never had a Mephisto friend. Sidekick, yeah. Another interesting kind of piece of trivia is that Silver Surfer is the one that crash lands through Doctor Strange's sanctum and warns them that Thanos is coming, not the Hulk. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I liked how they used Silver Surfer. I wish they would have used Silver Surfer in the movie.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're going to bring that up during our Patreon, aren't you?
Yeah.
Save it. Save that juicy bits. And like we said before, the giant battle at Wakanda didn't happen. And as a matter of fact, we'll talk about this later, but Black Panther was snapped away. He didn't exist in this universe.
Just like many of our favorite superheroes.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that in the next section. But this battle was actually in space, and it was on Death's little throne platform.
Little?
It was pretty little. I mean, it wasn't a planet. It was like I don't know, like a houseboat in space. I don't.
Like his house yacht.
Yeah, it was just like a little rock that had thrones on.
Mm-hmm.
The comics had a ton more characters than in the movie. I mean, the X-Men were in it. The Celestials, She-Hulk, Nova, Cloak and Dagger, the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom. So many characters.
Yeah, there was a lot of them that played really big roles in the comics too. Like they weren't
huge.
just, like supplemental characters.
Yeah, like Silver Surfer is a good example.
Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom, right. The giant battle also involved all of the cosmic beings in the Marvel universe. I mean, every single one, like Galactus, all of them. Chaos, all of them.
Yeah, I really liked reading about the cosmic beings. I want to know more about them now.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Well, we're going to see some of them in Eternals.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be we'll see. I don't know if it's going to be the Elders or if it'll be the Celestials or if they'll be involved. We'll see. I think we'll see some, hopefully. But none of them were in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
None of them. We don't even get to see the Watcher, which we know for sure we're going to get a movie on or a show or something. I can't remember my Phase 4 trivia, but the Watcher is going to be in some stuff.
It seems like the comics were more focused on like the cosmic fight, and then the movie, the fight was just on Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
These comics really reminded me of DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths because those comics had just about every character in them as well. It's kind of like, they have to team up, fight together to save the day, and it brings all the characters together. So
it was very similar.
But I think that these Infinity Gauntlet, what's it called? Thanos Quest. I like the story a lot better.
Oh, it's way better. There's no competition.
I don't know.
Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think they sacrificed story so that they could get rid of the multiverse and kind of reboot it.
Yeah, I guess so.
It was more like signing a check. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to cash.
Yeah.
Where this was an event.
And we did a huge podcast episode, like part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Was it 8?
Yeah, we did daily Crisis on Infinite Earths
for the big crossover on the CW that they had last year or beginning of this year too.
Yeah, really fun. Let's talk about the snap. When Thanos
don't snap those fingers.
I don't have the gauntlet.
Yeah, I wanted to buy a gauntlet on Amazon, but it wasn't going to make it here in time for the podcast, so I didn't end up ordering it.
Yeah, and we were too lazy to go up to GameStop. I mean, let's just be real. When Thanos told Thor, "You should have aimed for the head," and snaps, I was absolutely blown away. Even seeing it multiple times, it still gets me. And then people start turning into dust. I turned to Aaron, and I think we both had a tear in our eye because it was just, even seeing it happen, like seeing Peter Parker turn into dust. Oh, it just gets the heartstrings. Single man tear for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and the Infinity Gauntlet, we see him snap like right at the beginning of the comic. And they don't just like turn to dust and kind of float off. They make it artsy. They put those special effects on it. In the comics, they just disappear. So it's like they're there and then they're gone and people are like, what? Like, that's crazy. And in the comics, Thanos also unleashes a shockwave that destroys the entrance to Asgard.
Actually destroys a quarter of the universe. Like, serious power.
Yeah. And he puts most of the coast of the United States underwater and completely wipes out Japan.
Yeah, if I remember right, California broke off and fell into the ocean. Japan's gone. It's really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's why they end up having the fight, like on a cosmic plane instead of on Earth.
Yeah, a planet just can't handle it. I mean, there was one time when the Celestials were throwing planets at Thanos.
Mhm.
Like, it's crazy.
Mhm. Let's talk about who disappeared when Thanos snapped his fingers in the comics.
Yeah.
Archangel, Beast, Black Cat, Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
We see him disappear in the movie. Dagger, Daredevil. He's not even in the movie, but I wish he was. Hawkeye, Hercules, Iceman, Marvel Boy, and Marvel Girl. All of the Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Zero.
Power Man, aka Luke Cage.
I love me some Luke Cage.
Yeah. Quicksilver, Sasquatch, Cersei, U.S. Agent, Wasp, and more.
There's a page in the comics that just lists them all, and Captain America is like, he has his head down. It says just like on the computer, it's like disappeared, 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 disappeared.
Yeah.
By the way, Archangel is one of my favorite Marvel heroes.
Really?
Yeah. I just love his look and the razor wings. He was in X-Force, I think, for a while.
Yeah. The one thing I did notice was in the comics, a lot of the main heroes that didn't get snapped away were the same ones that didn't get snapped away in the movie either.
Yeah, true. I mean, like Captain America and Iron Man and, well, Spider-Man didn't get snapped.
Oh, in the comics he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the movie he did.
Yep.
I thought that was different. Also, many superheroes die in gruesome ways, not just being snapped out of existence in the comics.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to name a few, like Captain America had his neck broken.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man was beheaded.
The ending is also different, but the same. After the snap in the movies, you see that Thanos goes to his little cottage kind of overlooking his peaceful area to retire from a grateful universe, or whatever he says in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
He actually does retire or move to his hut in the comics also, but it's after he gets beaten and pretends to blow himself up at the very end. He actually pretends to commit suicide, which was really dark, but actually ends up going to a planet and becoming a farmer. In the comics, Adam Warlock actually visits Thanos at his farm, and they decide to leave him alive, and they ask Adam why, and he said everybody has their part to play in the universe.
Does it sound kind of like Negan on The Walking Dead?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. I mean, we know what happens to Thanos in the next movie. Spoiler warning, skip ahead 15 seconds. Thor chops his head off. And, you know, there's some after effects of that we won't get into, but it's hilarious, but we won't get into it.
We saw lots of Thor after killing Thanos cosplay at San Diego Comic-Con last year.
We did.
Like a lot.
And it was great. And we can link a couple of articles if you want to read more about the changes, like Thanos' origin and how the comic ends and all that. We'll put all the comics and everything in the show notes so you can kind of follow what happens. Anything more you want to talk about from Thanos Quest or Infinity Gauntlet or the movies or anything you can think of?
If you haven't read the comics, I highly recommend reading them. You just get a lot more out of the comics, I think, than you do sometimes in the movies. The movies are just so visually stunning, but the comics, they're filled with a little backstory that maybe you don't grasp, I think, in the movies.
Which do you think is better? The movie or the comics?
So hard. They're both really good.
If you like this movie, you will like the comics as much.
Yeah.
Seriously. Unbelievable little comic book set. I mean, it's 8 comics in total. 2 Thanos Quest and 6 Infinity Gauntlet.
It takes a little while to get through the Infinity Gauntlet, but
yeah, it'll take you a day.
It's totally worth it.
If you read them, it'll take you a day because they're like 50 pages. I mean, comic books were deep.
Yeah. It seems like they have a lot more dialogue in some of these older comics too.
For sure. You know, new comics I read in like
10
5
minutes
minutes
or
10
something.
minutes. And I'm like, okay, well, there goes $6, whatever they cost, $4. I still get them though.
You pay, I think, more for, well, the art back then was really good, but it seems like the art and just the quality of the print and everything like that is just like out of this world nowadays. Like, it's just amazing how much like people, like the artists have evolved into, you know, like their own styles and everything. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, there was always the standout artists like McFarlane and those guys, but now it's like everything you pick up is beautiful.
Yeah.
If you're a patron, stay tuned. We're going to talk about the superheroes that were in the Infinity Gauntlet comics that we want to see in the MCU, and maybe maybe if they are coming, we'll talk a little bit about that and the movies they're coming in and stuff like that. Thank you for listening to this episode of FanDummies. Please subscribe, rate, and write us a review if you haven't already. If you write us a 5-star review and write us a note, we will read it on the podcast. We'll even say your name. It'll be like Mumblebutts347 says, I love FanDummies. The usernames are always crazy. Midwest Mama 42. FanDummies is the greatest. I'm just giving you some ideas, you know, just stuff you could write.
Yeah.
As always, links to our Patreon, our Facebook group, our merch will be in the show notes. Everyone needs a FanDummies shirt.
You know, you get the Aaron Panda shirt that I'm wearing right now. You could buy that.
Yeah. You got to love the Aaron Panda shirt.
Greg's got a alien shirt.
Yeah, the aliens is the coolest one, obviously.
Surprised you're not wearing your FanDummies logo shirt. You wear that like all the time.
I know. I love it. We make sure to get a quality shirts so that they last a really long time. And I test that out because like every third day I wear that shirt. If you're listening to us and you're not watching us right now, go to YouTube, search for FanDummies or click the link in the show notes. We have a YouTube channel that every episode is now going to be video and audio. So if you don't just love hearing our beautiful voices and you want to see our faces, or if you want to know, like, when you hear that weird noise, it's the beard scratch.
Do the beard scratch. At least once an episode, I have to edit out the beard scratch.
That's how you know I'm thinking hard about something Erin's saying. She's saying something ultra interesting that I have to ponder.
I will never know what that feels like to have a beard to scratch.
Yeah, well, we all have our limits.
Have beard envy.
You can come scratch mine anytime.
Okay. Let me just reach out and
that'd be good. If you want to reach out to us, we are at FanDummies on all social media. We reply to Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. So if you have a question or a comment, if you say something nice, we will say something back.
Yeah. And one of the main reasons that we're chopping our 2 episodes down into 1 episode a week is just so we can have video.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're doing this for you guys that we're, you know, cutting it in half. So if you want to watch us, you can.
Yeah, we want to reach everybody. And we want, you know, there's not enough hours in the day to do 2 video, 2 audio episodes. That's just crazy. That's crazy.
We'll have to get someone else to edit.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll need a whole crew. And unless you sign up to our Patreon, we can't afford a whole crew.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you listening. We love you very much. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Greg said bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I said bye-bye.